Hi Greedy 3Ders, well the GK2 from Uniformation is in the Greedy 3D man cave. Let's give it a review, but spoiler alert, you're going to need to make a space in your man cave for one of these. So let's just take a couple of minutes to look at the Uniformation GK2 official video, which you can find on their website. Well, the GK2 has arrived all the way from China. It's arrived well packaged, well boxed, and in a condition that I would have expected it to arrive from. It took a little bit longer to arrive. It took around about 40 days to get to me, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But when it has arrived, I am absolutely chuffed with everything that's in there. It is a beautiful printer. I love the colour. I love the way this lid goes up and down. If you've got a little workspace, then you've got to worry about where to put your lid. There's nothing on the sides of this printer, but when you look at the back, there is a little section there that allows you to fit your built-in air filter, and that's absolutely amazing. And it's really easy to pop in. You just literally pop it in. It's done. If you want to get it out, you take it out. And you can actually buy replacements from the Uniformation website, and they're relatively inexpensive, which is a good touch. Now, for me, it came with a European plug. No good for me here in the UK, but as luck would have it, a kettle smashed just after it arrived. I'm not sure how that happened, so I did find a replacement plug. I plugged it in and turned it on, and it worked from the onset. Absolutely marvellous. Now, you get your bag of goodies with it, your obligatory bag of goodies. You get a funnel, you get everything you can see here. What you also get are 2 spare NFEPs, which is absolutely great, and also a screen protector. Now, there is already a screen protector on there, and you get a spare. And if you want to know how to change the screen protector, look on the USB stick or look on the Uniformation YouTube page or their website, and it will show you how you do it. But it did come with it pre-installed. This is just showing how you would change it if you needed to, but again, you will not need to. It's already pre-installed. Now, living here in old Blighty, we know how cold it gets, especially in the winter. In fact, it's cold all the piggy time, to be fair. This comes with a built-in heater. It's probably one of the only printers I've seen that comes with a built-in heater, and this is absolutely fantastic. And it means that your resin can sit there toasty and work all through the year, even when it's really, really cold. Now, the levelling process is a little bit different. Instead of doing what you would normally do, you use these little folded pieces of paper under all 4 corners. But fear not, YouTubers, because it already comes pre-levelled, and you'd only do this if you had a problem with the levelling or if you needed to re-level it for any reason. But when it comes out the box, it's all pre-leveled. You literally just plug and you play. It's a little bit different how they do it, but it works, and I've had no problems with it since I've used mine. So the leveling process in the factory seems to work absolutely hum-diddly-dumble. One of the first things it asks you to do when you unpack it is do an exposure test, so you can run it on the screen. It's a bit of a weird old test because it doesn't show you the whole screen. It just shows you 2 little centre bits, a square and a circle. Very, very strange. Now, one of the things I do like about this is the actual resin vat, and I've got to enjoy taking all these covers off. It's a 700ml resin vat that slides in and out. It comes with a cover at the top, and yep, you heard me right, it slides in and out. There's no knobs to tidy it up and screw it in with. You just literally push it in and you pull it out when you're finished. Absolutely marvellous, and get all those lovely bits of protection off there, and that's an MFEP on there, and you do get 2 spare MFEPs with it that come standard with the machine. Wonderful, lovely looking bit of kit. Don't forget to take the protective sheet off the top of your screen as well, and it is a glass screen, which is great. And there you go, you just literally put it down and you push it in and you feel it go with a little click and it's in, and when you want to get it out, you just literally pull it. Maybe a concern with the longevity of this, but let's see. I've had no real problems with it myself, and I've heard of no problems, but we'll keep an eye on that to see if it gets looser as time goes on. But I really love the way you can get it just in and out at your leisure there. It's really easy, and it's a lovely, lovely vat. It's plastic, it's not made of metal. or metallic in any way, it's plastic. Now let's fill it up, and I'm using some basic Sunlu resin here, the 700ml capacity. Make sure you don't fill it over the little overspill that you see on the top left corner, because if you do, you're going to get it everywhere. And I'm just running a test print to make sure that it's leveled okay. It'll print 5 squares, and the first thing you saw it do there was quickly copy the file from the USB stick into your hard drive that's in there, it's built in. It's a 4 gig hard drive. That's amazing. So if your USB stick gets knackered, you've got a hard drive that'll save your print. Amazing. Let's shut that lid and let it print its first ever print. Now if you look at the build plate size, I'm just using a Saturn S here as an example. Other printers are available of course, but it's a reasonably sized 10-inch build plate compared to the Saturn S with an 8K resolution, and boy does it produce some wonderful prints. So I've come back to it. It only took about 40 minutes later, and I'm going to get that build plate off. Now you can see, to get it off, you just lift that little catch and you pull it. There's no big knob to unscrew. It's a lift and it's a pull, and there it is. It's quite a big thick build plate, and it's quite flat. It's not rough at all. There's no laser etching on it, and I wanted to see how I got other things off it, and they came off really easy. I will put a link in the description to the settings that I'm using on there, but I was really pleased with how everything came off, and really easy to clean as well. Just wiped it down with a bit of tissue when I'd finished. Now the design on this is really clever really, because there's like a lip all the way around the edge of it that catches little spills of resin, and I think that's a wonderful touch. Saves it dripping all over the floor. I've wiped it off and it's ready to go again. And when we look at what it's actually produced, nothing outstanding, but it's produced some squares or some oblongs. And what I wanted to do is see how they sort of fit together. What's the kind of detail like? And look at that, absolutely dead square 90 degrees. They fit together really chuffed. Now what I wanted to do of course next was print something a little bit more detailed, a little bit thicker, and something with just some texture to it. So I printed 3 different files, and I wanted to see how it would handle those files, and as I would have expected, they've all come out really lovely. No issues, no problems, everything's printed 100%. And when we look close at this file here, it's quite a detailed file. It's printed at awesome quality. I've got no issues with the quality that it's produced here. Probably needs a little bit of a clean up and some more of the removal of the supports from my perspective, but the print itself is fantastic. 100% happy with that. The hand that I printed, just to see if I could do something a little bit bigger, the texture in the hand is really lovely. I'm ecstatic with how it's all come out. I've got no problems with the quality that this thing is producing, and it's doing exactly what it said on the tin. It's an 8K machine. I'm just using standard Sunlu resin. As I say, I'll show you my settings a little bit later on in the description, but they're all working wonderfully. And this was just something I built a little bit thicker for a coming up strength test that I'm going to do, but so far all printed wonderfully. So what do we think of the GK2? What are the good points? Are there any bad points? Well, let's look at the good points first. For me, and I can only talk from me, I love the lid. The lid going up and down on this thing is just fantastic. Now, if you've got a little space, and I haven't got a big space, wondering where to put your lids is an issue. Well, for me now, I'll just lift the GK2 lid up and away it goes. I really like the way that the easy release build plate and the easy release resin tray come in and come out. Now, the only concern I would have is the longevity of them. Are they going to get looser over time? Well, I don't know. And I certainly haven't heard any reports of that happening, but let's see. But for me at the moment, that is definitely a positive. The vat holds 700 mils of solution, which is absolutely fantastic. Great for your needs. It would have been nice to see an auto refill, but hey, we never know what the next regeneration of the GK3 maybe, or 4, or whatever they call it will be. But for now, 700 mils is a pretty good vat size. Living in the UK, temperatures, especially when we start to get into winter, plummet. 3D printing with resin has always been a problem, no more. This thing has got a heater. That is an absolute Billy bonus, and the main reason I bought this printer in the first place was for this function alone, as I have had all sorts of concerns and problems over the winter period in the UK, but no longer. It heats it up lovely, it's easy to use, bonus. USBs on the front, I like that. Not everybody likes that, but it works for me. It means I'm going to go fiddling around the sides and the back to get at it. Now, there is another USB port at the back, and that is for a Wi-Fi dongle. Now, Uniformation haven't made this yet, but I am under the impression that that's in the pipeline at some stage. So a positive that the USB is at the front. There is a bit of a negative that we haven't got the Wi-Fi yet, but apparently it's a coming. Now, from a forward maintenance perspective, if you want to change the screen on your GK2, they've made it really, really easy. All you need to do is undo 4 screws, pull out a ribbon cable and pop the new ribbon cable in, do the 4 screws up and you've got a new screen. That makes life so much easier when you're changing it, and fair play to Uniformation for adding that little feature in. There's a hard drive built in. It's a 4 GB hard drive, and when you push your USB stick in, before you press print, it copies the file from your USB stick onto its internal hard drive. That means that if your USB stick fails, or you knock it or you pull it out, it's still got the file built into the printer, so you're not going to lose and knacker up your print. Great move, GK2. Great move, Uniformation. The filtration system is an absolute bonus, and not only is it a bonus, it's easy peasy to fit. You literally just plug it in, it's held in with a magnet, and you can buy replacements relatively inexpensively from the Uniformation websites. So are there any negatives to it? Well, there's always negatives to everything, so let's have a look at them. For me personally, it took an awful long time to arrive. Now, when I ordered it from China. They do have a European warehouse, I believe, in Germany, where it would have come a little bit quicker, but they were out of stock. And I think they're out of stock because they're in such high demand. So for me, it took just over 40 days for it to arrive. But do you know what? It was worth waiting for. Although it's a negative, that may not be a negative for you. You may get it a lot quicker than that, but it's something to just take into consideration when you order it. And if you do want to order one of these GK2s, I'll put a link in the description where you can get it from. It didn't come with a UK plug. Not a groundbreaker, because I did manage to find one. But you would like to think if they're shipping to the UK, it should come with a plug that is compatible with the electrical systems of the country that it's going to. Just something else to consider, Uniformation. Now, as you can hear, it's quite a noisy machine. It's not going to sit quietly in the corner of your room. It is one of the noisier ones that I've used. We spoke briefly earlier about the no Wi-Fi option. Not a game changer for me, but it might be a game changer for you. Apparently there's something in the works, and the USB point at the back will be where you plug that in, but it's not available yet. One of the major concerns that I feel I have, and other people have commented they have, is the fact that there's no restart feature after a power cut. So if you get a power cut mid-print, you can scrap your print and start again. Lots of other printers offer this feature. So if you're at an area where your power fluctuates a lot, really is something to consider, that once that power goes off, you've lost your work. Uniformation, I think you need to look at that one moving forward. And as for the cost of this, well, now it was near enough just under $900. That's quite expensive for a 3D printer. It's not going to break the bank completely, but it's very expensive for a 3D printer. And again, this will depend on your budget. Cheaper 8K printers are on the market, but this does offer features that they probably don't offer. So again, you're going to have to, you get to pay your money, you take your choice. Whether that's a negative for you or not will depend on you and your budget. Now, I had to buy this printer. This printer was not given to me. It was not gifted to me. I had to buy this printer. So it's a factor in everybody's considerations to which printer they buy is the cost. And this is a little bit expensive, but it's worth the money. So what do I think of the Uniformation G2? And should you buy one? Would I recommend it to you? Well, from my perspective, it is without doubt the best printer that I have owned for the reasons we've talked about in this video. The big one for me in the UK is the fact I can use it all through the winter with no aggro, no external heating, and I'll still be able to continue my hobby when the weather gets cold. That's a big selling point for me. I recommend this printer completely, wholly, absolutely. And if you want to buy this printer, you can get it from a link in the description. I'm not saying you have to do that, but if you want to do that, a little bit will kick back to me on the channel and allow me to keep producing content for you guys. So just finally from Greedy 3D, the GK2, the green machine in the background from Uniformation, absolutely top doggity dog printer. Buy one, spend your wonga now, boys and girls, spend your wonga now.